Rhaenyra Targaryen finds it challenging to accept what she's seeing. This woman has taken to the skies like a dragon's back. Years later, she witnessed nobles kneel at her feet before rising against her. She lost a child in her battle for the Iron Throne, and her heart sank upon learning of another child's death. But witnessing the two identical twin knights, Eric and Eric Cargyll, engaged in a death-defying duel in her own bedroom, with the outcome determining whether she survives or not, it's evident on the actor's face. Rhaenyra never would have predicted this one, not even in her wildest imagination. The biggest strength of House of the Dragon is its ability to shock not in the gross-out sense, though that is frequently the case, but rather in the sense of an abrupt, terrible surprise. It's common knowledge that civil wars are conflicts between brothers. Nonetheless, imagination is empowered to literalize the symbolic. Imagine two individuals who are identical in appearance and voice, who declare they are one soul in two bodies, and then kill one another in a mindless murder-suicide that accomplishes absolutely nothing. This is a perfect example of the senseless violence of battle. Sir Criston, his Lord Commander, asked Sir Eric to handle this whole vile issue, which is something he never should have done. In fact, Criston's actions were only an unhealthy outlet for his sex-related annoyances at a time when his on-again, off-again relationship with Queen Alicent was at its lowest point. By the end of the episode, they've reconciled and are enjoying lengthy sex, which is a far healthier method to deal with their problems, even though their relationship was ultimately a negative one. Even if their connection is secretive, Alicent and Criston are still having more success in their romantic relationship than Rhaenyra and Daemon. The Black Queen is so furious that nobody would believe she had anything to do with the young Prince Jaehaerys' murder and beheading in his bed. She becomes even more enraged upon discovering that, in spite of herself, she was involved. Daemon killed another kid in a hasty effort to fulfill her demand for retribution against Prince Aemond. Rhaenyra concludes with accuracy that that person is untrustworthy. When she calls him pathetic, he distances himself from her company. Once again, Daemon's actions in King's Landing are reaping horrifying rewards. The two men who assassinated Jaehaerys are apprehended and executed, along with a number of other innocent individuals whose sole transgression was helping one of the murderers catch palace rats. When his grandfather Otto chastises him for this PR gaffe, King Aegon, who, despite all of his flaws, is truly heartbroken over the loss of his young son, fires him as the king's hand and installs Sir Criston in his place. Sir Criston is a man of action as opposed to the cunning but reserved Otto, and he is also the most tightly wound man in Westeros. Actual dragons would have better hands. Not that Otto's counsel is quite as wise as he believes it to be. He had a brilliant idea to take advantage of Jaehaerys' passing, which involved sewing the little boy's head back onto his body and putting him on display for everyone to see. Jaehaerys' mother, Helaena, and grandmother, Alicent, rode on a wagon behind him, resembling the queens of some gloomy Rose Bowl parade, so the child's body wasn't alone. Otto was certainly correct to believe that this open demonstration of grief and brutality would contribute to the common people's belief that Rhaenyra is a monster. But he never once stopped to think about how vulnerable his granddaughter, Helaena, was. She was already traumatized by her uninvited involvement in Jaehaerys' murder, and now she had to witness him being jostled and grabbed like a cartload of turnips for the sake of what amounted to a political advertisement. The entire scene acted as a terrifying forerunner to Queen Cersei's centuries later walk of shame from Game of Thrones. Prince Aemond One-Eye, whose dragon-assisted manslaughter of Rhaenyra's son, Lucerys, ignited the hostilities, is the only member of Team Green who shares Rhaenyra's grief that it has all come to this. He boasts of Daemon's effort to have him whacked while cradled in the arms of the prostitute who stole his virginity years prior. I am proud that he considers me such a foe, but he is burdened by his own transgressions. He looks off into the distance as he replies, "I do regret that business with Luke. That day, I lost my temper. I apologize for it. It's certainly a day overdue and a